Hello again, it's Wendy. Today I have some interesting things I'm going to do. I wanted to try something kind of different for me. I'm going to do a masterboard using just black and white and then build on it and copy it and so I can use it in different ways. So what I'm starting with is I've got some antique French music here, and I've got some newspaper pieces that I found on designbundles.net, and you can put a link below if you're interested in finding some of those as well. And I also have some French letters and documents, whatever, that I'm going to be using for this, so that I have a nice monotone background. So let's get started on this. Now, the first thing I want to do this is kind of odd, but this is supposed to be black and white, but this is actually a really creamy white. However, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to cover it completely up anyway. And I want to first just figure out where I can put some of these pieces. I will be going over the edges so that then I'll trim them afterwards, because I don't want, this white edge down the side. So I'm going to start with just a piece of this music on this corner, kind of like this. And I'm using waxed paper for my glue. What do you call this thing? I'm just so not with it today. Just to glue on, because I don't want the glue on my little board here. So I have to find this one. This is the glue stick I'm finding that is working the best. It's this purple one. So I'm going to just go off the edge on this side. Over here doesn't matter so much because I'm going to be cutting it off anyway. But we'll just put it down like this. And make sure there's lots on it. And placing it kind of over the edge, and I can kind of see the edge of the paper underneath there, so that's good. I might use more of that, but I'm going to use this now. I feel like kind of a fumble fingers this morning. And I'm just tearing most of these papers because that's the look I want. I think I might put that at a bit of an angle. Not really sure. We have another beautiful day here. It's amazing. The weather went from last week we had frost on the car, and this week we have summertime. I had to actually get out some summer clothes. It's not hot, but it feels like a beautiful summer day. So let's stick this on here like this. And a piece of music. This is a different one. I think maybe I'll put it over here off this corner. In fact, I might even, I think I'll put it at an angle like that. So this will be the masterboard. And what I'm going to do, you'll see, it's really a cool idea. I actually saw it on someone else's channel recently. I thought, wow, I love that idea. And I think I can use it and put my own spin on it. That's kind of the goal here. But I haven't done a masterboard before, and I think I'm kind of overdue because I have been thinking about it for some time. So there's some of that. I'm going to end up with sticky spots, I know that, but Now this one came out kind of gray, which is a little bit disappointing, but I'd have to take it into Photoshop and switch up the colors and change the contrast and all that kind of thing, and I just didn't want to bother today. So that can go there. It's quite a departure actually, because it's got comments on Buffalo Bill and the Shoshone, which is in the Wild West. I'm sure the Shoshone people group is still alive and well. However, let's just slide that in there. Shoshone National Bank in Cody, Wyoming. That's why this paper is from Cody, Wyoming, which used to be the Wild Wild West anyway. Let me see. I've got some different handwriting in the French writing. This one is, wow, really kind of big and bold, but I like these things, and I've got a couple of kinds here. So someone's obviously made a comment on this document, whatever it was. This one can go along the bottom. I kind of like doing the edges first and then sort of building inwards. But I don't always do things like that, but in this case, that's apparently what I'm doing. So we'll just put this blue on here. I love the purple because then I can see where I've been. It's probably time to turn that over. Give it a fold. I used wax paper instead of parchment because parchment, I found when I'm editing my videos, is so crackly that I have to actually edit out some of that crackly sound. Look at this. Love that seal. Now, in here, yeah, I think I'll put that there. And I'm not distressing the edges here because I want it to be really quite just black and white, and I don't have any gray distress ink. All I've got is just, you know, a black stamp pad, and I think it would be a lot too intense. So I've decided not to go with that. However, it'll work just fine like this anyway, so let's put this in here. Actually, I want it to go right over that edge, and it's not quite there. Also, a nice thing about glue sticks, you can move them before they're really stuck down. Okay, I've got a little bit of an edge here that didn't quite get it. There, that's nice. Now I think I want some more music here. So I'm going to take a little bit more of this. So how are things today? Things have been, in the COVID world, have been so disturbing. But sometimes in normal life, it's like, I mean, things just carry on, and you can't watch that news all the time because it is too upsetting. I'm really careful about how much news I watch and what news I watch. And sometimes, well, mostly I don't watch any news. I just read it, because then you can kind of skim it, and, you know, I like looking at on YouTube because you can pick and choose how much you want to know, and it helps keep you a little more sane. Okay, now let's see, what color, what should we put in the bottom here? Here's another. I think I'll use this in here. And I don't want this flat edge. So we'll just do that with it. And that works. There, that's good. And writing or music? How much music have I got? I think I'll go with writing. Not that one though. It's two. Let's go with one of these. Let me see. I don't think I want people in it. No, I don't want people in it. Oh, here's a good one. There's that one. And that's a repeat. I don't know why I ended up with repeat, but let's that's too gray. I don't want it to be really gray. I want it to stay black and white. So I'm going to go back to this one and use some of it. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, I think that'll work. In fact, I can even put it at an angle because I have a little bit of extra. Let's just switch that around. Let's see. Put that there like that. That means I can kind of take this off. There's a little bit of wind today. And my rose bush outside my window is squeaking against the siding. So if you can hear that squeaking, that's what that is. I think I like the parchment paper better. It's a little more solid. There. That's how simple that is. Now I found these on designbundles.net. There's a link below where you can just go find them. They have lots of stuff on there, and I can highly recommend using them. The prices are very reasonable, and there's just so much choice. Now, I'll just rub that glue so that it's not sticky. And I'm going to move all these papers out of my way because otherwise it takes no time at all to be buried in paper. And I'm going to trim the edges of this. So there's the masterboard in black and white. And this makes a perfect background for all kinds of things. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it and I'm going to scan it and print it and make a few sheets of it, and then I'll show you what happens next. So I took it to my printer and I made some copies of it. First I used a 28-pound paper, which is nice and white, and then I used a cream, well, just slightly cream, and you can see the difference between the colors here. And then I found my white cardstock. The next step in this project is to decorate this, and I want to make it floral, so I've done a bunch of fussy cutting, and I've also chosen some different things that I cut with my CRICUT machine. Plus I've got some sayings like this that I took from the Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady, and just some odds and ends. But one thing I want to do, because I'm going to be making an envelope out of this, the first thing I need to do is to figure out where I'm going to fold it. And I want the flap, I want to have kind of a generous flap. So I'm going to simply mark this here. And I'm going to give it just a tiny squeeze there and mark that, because between these two will be where an address would go. So when I'm working with this, for example, what I might do is place something like this in the middle, and then there's some place to write. So if I'm going to send this in the mail, then I can actually put the recipient's address on this. For the decoration, what I'm planning to do is just place everything on it so that I'll then copy it again. So if I want to look at, say, the flap is going to be here, facing that way, and I wanted to put something like this on it, I'd want to make sure that it goes that way, not facing this way. Otherwise, when you turn the envelope over, it would be upside down. I'm not really sure that I'm going to use that, but I'm just saying. And then the inside, or the back of the envelope, would be here. And again, it's the opposite direction. So, for example, if I wanted to put this so that it showed, I'd want it to be here. So when a person opens the envelope, they'd see that. Now I've chosen a few odds and ends, and I wanted to stay sort of with a pink-red theme. And I'm going to be just kind of placing them around and seeing what I think. I'd like the black and white to show through. We don't have to be too fussy about the folds, except for that, is it up or down, that I mentioned. And I wanted to make it kind of floral, excuse me. So this, for example, I might put this way because it's going to be on that flap. And same with this. Also, this one and this one, which I want to face the other way. Here's a cute little gal, and so I think I'll put her. I like her here, but I'm not sure about that now because I don't want pink against pink. So perhaps that rose, and this one can go down here. Also have this, and this is like a half-finished watercolor. This is a really gorgeous piece. I've got more roses over here. This little rosebud broke off. I cut these with my CRICUT machine this morning. That's why you can see how finely cut they are. I don't do that with my fingers. It takes too long. Let's put that there. I like these little guys, little tags. Let me see. It's very busy, but that's what I've intended. So how I'm attaching these, I'm not going to glue them down because I might want to use them for something else. In fact, I probably will. And I don't want them on the masterboard because I need to use it again. Well, not this particular one because this is just a copy. So I'm putting the tiniest dab of glue just to hold it in place. And then I'm going to copy it again on another piece of copy or cardstock. And that way it's a new piece of art. There. Now I'm going to go and photocopy this as well. Okay, I'm back. And wouldn't you know it, just this is like the first time I've used any kind of copying with my printer for my videos, and I get this. So I spent 2 hours trying to sort that out. However, here we are and it's all fixed. So I'm relieved about that. It does take a lot of sort of detective work sometimes to figure out what's going on. So we'll just kind of clear the decks here. And I want to just trim off this edge because the printer will always add an edge because I guess it has to. Just have something to hang on to. So I'm just going to take that little edge, white edge off. It's a little bit trickier to see on this because of the white in the background, but not a problem at all. And now this is the front. Oops, this is the front of the envelope. So it actually goes like this. So I'm going to fold it here. That looks about right. And get a nice firm fold on it. And I'm folding it here as well. Actually, I'm going to score it because sometimes you don't get a nice fold by just pushing it. Oh, here's our little rosebud. There, hang on to that. Give it just a little bit of extra room here. That didn't come out exactly straight. That's funny. I'm just going to do this one. And this one right here. Let's see if we can make it work a little bit better. Well, it's still ending up a little crock-eyed, but oh well. Perfection eludes, apparently. What I want to do before I'm going to sew the edges on this, but first I want to do a little bit of color along the edge, and I'm going to try it on something else rather than this. I haven't been able to get any distress ink, so I've just been using stamp pads when I want to color, and the problem with that is it's not quite the same. However, I'm going to use this one anyway. Oh, I think that's working okay. I think that gives it a nice edge. So now you know you can, in a pinch, this is what you can do. Just use a regular stamp pad. Oh, I also want to round the corners on this, the flap. So I might as well do that before I do the coloring on along the edge. Now I'm also going to do the inside here. I don't need to go down in there because that's not going to show, but I'm going to do along this edge, both in and out, to give it that pink glow. So speaking of family, I talked to my aunt this morning because it's her birthday and she's 90. And when you think of 90, you think of frail little old lady. Well, my aunt is not like that at all. She said she can't believe she's 90. It's just ridiculous. The whole idea of being that old is just, you know, unbelievable. And she lives on a farm with her son and daughter-in-law and their daughter, who has 4 children. And they've got horses and I think they got a few other things. They're not farmers, but they live on a farm situation. And she said she's going to start this summer, she's going to start teaching her great-granddaughters to trick ride on their horses, because my aunt was a famous trick rider when she was younger. She's in the Canadian Cowboy Hall of Fame. She and her sister had a trick riding team a long time ago, and she's just never slowed down. Okay, so there is our envelope with the edges done. Now I'm going to go sew this, and I'll be right back. I had one more thought as I was heading towards my sewing machine, that I want to glue it first along these edges because I don't want it to move when it gets into the sewing machine. Now I'll be right back. Oh, there's our envelope with the stitching on it. Now I just went around here like this, and then I thought, oh, well, I'll go around the top as well and then come back here. But I noticed my tension isn't very good on this side, but it doesn't really show, and it doesn't really matter. So now what I can do is I can decorate this part here, and I think I might do that with this. Wow, this is perfect. This is perfect. I think I'll just distress the edges as well. And then I'm going to make a couple of things to go in it. So let's see if there's any color left here. Wait, I want to do the corners as well. Let's just do a rounded corner, a rounded corner on this, because then it matches this as well. Just clip, clip, clip these ones. And once again, I'll get out my red brick claret colored ink here and just make the edges a little bit more, gives it more contrast with the background. That's one thing I really like about doing the edges like this. I've done some other pages and videos with where I hadn't done that, and afterwards I thought, I think I should have distressed the edges, because it just gives it a little bit more oomph, a little more contrast, and it brings out the colors more, I think, or the features, depending, I think in just about everything, it hardly matters what it is, whether you're doing black and white or everything's all sepia or whatever, it always adds to it. So I'll just do this, provided I get the lid off that thing. Now, of course, when I was messing with the printer, I forgot to put my lid back on, so now it's kind of gotten goopy on me. But it's not too bad, so most of the gooping is going on my fingers. Now, because this is actually a reflection, and you're going to open the envelope this way, I'm going to put it going in this direction and just kind of center it there. Now what I want to do is create some little cards to go inside here. This would be a good one, but it needs to have a backing. So I need to find a piece of cardstock for that, which I think I have right here. It's not the one I want though. So I'm going to just mark this, and then I can cut it to fit. I thought it was safe to cut this out of the Country Diary book. It's "'Tis the Merry Nightingale," a little message by Coleridge. But on the other side, it talks about the adder, which is the only poisonous snake in the UK, and it is kind of apparently a small snake and likes gardens and whatever. And it is easily confused with the grass snake. So lots of times people are, beating grass snakes to death because they're afraid that they're adders, and grass snakes are good for your garden and keep the bugs and rodents down and things like that. So, and here in Canada where I live, we don't have any poisonous snakes. We do have rattlesnakes on the prairies in really dry areas. And oops, that's not quite on. Where's my cleaner here? peel that off and try again. Line up the end here, line up the sides. Looks like I got it this time. Get that pressed down nicely. So I think this will make a nice little card for inside the pocket. And I'll do the corners on this one as well. I did measure it, but it came out just like 1/2 millimeter too long. And thank goodness that's easily fixed. There. Clip those corners. There. So there's a nice little card to put in the pocket. That'll go in there. And I have another one. This one. I gotta remember to close these things up because they don't stay moist without that. For this one, I think I'll use white backing because it just works better with them. All right, I'm going to do the same with this. Just measure it, cut it, put it together. There, I've put a white cardstock on the back here, and I decided I wanted to put another little embellishment on it, and I have these roses in these soft pinks, and they're just all so pretty. And I'm all about making things pretty, so I'm going to just pop this on here. And put it at a little bit of an angle so that the leaves don't go over the edge. I think it needs to go a little bit farther into this corner. I want to leave room for messages or for journaling or whatever have you, whatever strikes your fancy. And I'm going to also press this down a little bit. Just make sure we got all the little loose ends pressed down. So there's another one for the envelope. And I'm not sure what else I want to do. Oh, I have an idea. Just hold it. I found these somewhere. I wish I could claim who created them because they're so nice. But I think they would make a nice journal card as well. And so I'm going to do the same with this and choose one that can go into the envelope. I decided to back this with this blank page from a 1908 desk calendar I discovered in my things the other day. And I'm going to just cut it to fit here, and then there will be a lined area to write on. Now look, I've got this line down here. Not to worry, there's a solution for everything. Mine for this one is to put something on it, but I'll put it on the card first and then we can deal with that. Wow, the motorcycles are so out now because the weather finally turned nice. And there's a highway about a block away from me, and you can hear them roaring all day. It's like everybody's got pent up craziness from COVID and a long, gloomy winter. And so I really can't blame anybody for wanting to get out and roar around. My husband and I went to a garden center nearby on Sunday. He just said, I want an ice cream cone. Where was it that we got that ice cream cone? I said, oh, it was over there at the garden house. And he goes, well, let's go. I need an ice cream cone. I said, okay. Well, I will probably blow my diet, but that's okay. It was worth it. And then afterwards we weren't hungry for supper, so it turned out not to be that big of a problem after all. Okay. Just press this down really well. This is such a handy unit, this little bone folder. Now I've got this, and what I want to do, let me see, this is all roses. So I have a little sliver of paper here. What if I put it this way and just tear it down like this? So we're just going to cover up that break, but do it in a pretty way. A bit more. Should do it. Can go right like that, and then I'll cut it. So let's get that going over here. Anyway, I was talking about my aunt and how it feels so strange to be such a big number at 90. And I think we feel that at every age. And once we're past, 24 or something, it's like, wow, I can't believe I'm this old. Just kind of whizzes by. And suddenly you're in the high double digits or wherever. And it's like, what? But I remember my grandmother lived to be 99. And I remember talking to her when she was about 94. And I asked her how old she felt. Did she feel 94? And she said, I feel the same as I did when I was 25. It's just that my body got older. And I think we all feel that way. And I've thought about that. And I think the reason is because our spirits never grow old. They just are the same all the time. If you were to go to heaven, you'd still be the same person. Okay. This is such a fine edge here that's not quite even. I'm just going to trim it because I like things to be really neat. Okay, that is perfect. This is in danger of drying out. And the other thing I want to do is around the corners. And I'm going to do some distressing on these as well with the pink. So I'll just move that off and get this out again, because I think it really adds something. See, it's not really hard to tell. Wow, it's nice. It's almost like trim. So when I went to sew my envelope, I had a pale blue thread in the machine because I'm sewing this shirt that I've had the pattern for probably a dozen years. In fact, I like the pattern so much that I accidentally bought it twice. So I was looking at something the other day. Actually, I went into the fabric store for something else entirely. And just, I always have a nice look around because if nothing else, the bright lights kind of cheer me up. So, if it's a dark day, I stop at the grocery store, yeah, not so much, but at the fabric store where there's so much bright light and so many pretty things. And I think that's key too, all those colors. And I'm a real color person, being a watercolorist, that, on the dreariest winter day, sometimes, like I've said to my husband, like on the way home from church or whatever, because we have to kind of go past that area of town, that I'll say, I need to stop at the fabric store. And he goes like, why? I'm like, I just need that bright light. And so he'll, he's really nice. He's so nice to me. He'll just say, well, like, he never sets foot in a fabric store because why would he? He doesn't sew and he never will. I don't want to say never, but it's highly unlikely. And so he will go buy a newspaper and sit in the car and just patiently wait for me. And it's lovely. So there's that one. And this one, I think it really needs something, that's for sure. I might even add a little embellishment of some kind if I find something tiny enough. But I think they all look better with a little bit of this kind of distressing along the edges. And I'm doing it back and front here so that it doesn't look like glaringly white or cream on the back. It has also the sort of vintagey edge, even if it is red. Okay, so there's that. That one's done. This one's done. That looks great. That one looks great. And this one needs a little tiny something. Let me see. I wish this wasn't as big because it's really nice, but oh, you know what? What happened to my little tiny rosebud? Oh, here it is. Here it is. That's perfect, isn't it? The tricky part is going to be gluing it without pulling it apart, but we will attempt and see how it goes. So we'll do that. And then go this way, get that tiny little stem. Coleridge would be proud, I'm sure. And so the question is, should I write something on the back or put something on the back? I don't really want to cut that out. Oh, this works. Okay, I'm sold. So this way you can write a message, and you can put this in the mail, or you could put it into another envelope and put it in the mail with for someone for a special occasion, or for an I love you kind of little gift to brighten somebody's day. Right, like that. Okay. Cover the glue. I need to have a little sign up here. It says cover the glue and remember to distress. So press that down, press this little one down. There we go. So there's our project. The cards can go into the envelope like that. So they're nice surprises, and you can put as much as you want in there. Just tuck that down a little bit farther. This can go here. If I were just giving this away and not mailing it, I would probably put some kind of ribbon to attach it. But since that's not the case, I might actually just mail it. I think I'll put this here. I'm concerned about this flipping up in the mail. That's the problem. It actually needs to be pressed down or to be held down some way. So probably maybe a washi tape along there, or just gluing it down with the glue stick will work. And then on this side, there's room to write the address and place for the stamp and your return address. So there's our project for today. I think it's really pretty. And I think it was Nina Rabina who made one of these the other day and gave me the idea, but I really wanted to put my own kind of spin on it. So I love the pinks, I love the roses, and I'm really thrilled with it. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I sure have. And also, thank you so much for watching, and please take a moment and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.